I don't remember the rest. R.S.Randall here, again. Oh man, I'm doing a bunch of these today. But, what a great excuse. I'm just noticing, I can't look at this. So I think this is genuinely one of the best instruments I've made thus far. And it's been with a lot of thought and development that I've been exploring this concept of, well, what is this? It's not a tenor guitar, and it's not a mandocello exactly, but it's a mandocello really in spirit, because here we have a cello scale, so a 27-inch scale, cello-tuned, mandolin-shaped instrument, right? So what would it be other than a mandocello? Though typically a mandocello is more guitar scaled, like a Gibson mandocello, which I think are some of the earliest mandocellos. So I'm sure there are ones that predate it. Their typical Gibson scale length of 24 3/4 or whatever the actual number is, but around there. Double strung, but tuned like this to the same tuning as a cello in fifth, starting at C. But the problem with those instruments is always that low C is a floppy, floppy C. And I wanted to make, rather than have it double strung, I wanted to make a single strung instrument just because I wanted it to really sound as much as a plucked fretted instrument can sound like a cello. I wanted it to sound like a cello. But really, the thing is, it sounds like its own thing. There's a trend right now to make what they call baritone tenors. You see a bunch of manufacturers making electric baritone tenors, which it's sort of a, it's a jumbo shrimp kind of situation. Because you're either a baritone or a tenor. Anyway, you get it. But I wanted to make an acoustic version of that really had some acoustic power. And I broke a lot of rules with this one. First and foremost, look at this top. This top is a walnut top. And look, I'm not the first person to use walnut as a soundboard, but I don't know, if you read things on the internet, you'd think that walnut makes a terrible soundboard if you listen to those people, but lo and behold, if you know how to treat it, walnut is as good as just about any other kind of wood. You don't want to be, as Ken Parker says, you don't want to be racist about woods. It's about the piece of wood, the individual piece of wood, and if it resonates well, there's a good chance you can make a good instrument out of it. And man, I can't, this is just such a joyful instrument to play. This isn't the first time I've attempted this baritone tenor sort of thing. I think I even have it down here. Yeah, I made this double neck a while ago from a conversation I had with my friend Bill Marsh, who's talking about, oh man, this one's not in tune. Hold on. Bear with me. All right. There it is. So I made this insane double neck a while ago because we were talking about this baritone tenor idea, and Bill's wife Kaylee had an electric baritone tenor and was dissatisfied with its upper register, so we talked about what if you put a normal tenor, that one's also not, I'm not going to bother tuning that one, but what if you put a normal tenor guitar neck on the same body as a baritone tenor guitar, and then you could, you know, set up loops and bass lines with this end and rip and solo with this end down here. And so as a spec instrument, I made this insane thing, which was a joy to make and super fun. But I made it in the typical baritone tenor scale length of 26.5 inches, which is still, you know, that's a ½ inch shorter than a real cello. And, I mean, there are lots of reasons this is not as full a sounding an instrument as this is, but a big part of it, or some part of it, who knows what size part of it, some part of it and some part of the feel being not quite as good, is it's just not long enough for that low C. Like, there's a reason big concert cellos have that big long scale, and that's to get that. There's no comparison between these two instruments here. I'll do it really quick and I'll edit them together, see? Like, this sounds like a real great instrument. That one's electric. It's a whole other thing, and I'll make a video about that someday. But here we are with this one now. I'm also about to take this up to La Conner. I'm very excited about it because I'm really anxious to show it off to people. What's unique about it? So it's got this sort of Regal inspired, or Larson Brothers also made instruments like this, and Martin sort of made things close to this. D'Angelico and D'Acquisto made mandolins with this, what they call a lump scroll or a elf hat shape here, which is Regal, or I'm not sure who did it first, but whoever did it first, it's their attempt of doing something sort of like an F-style Gibson mandolin, but their own version, right? With not as complicated of a scroll. And I love those. I love those instruments, and so I wanted to do that kind of aesthetic for this. But I made a big, huge body. This is, I think, about 16 inches wide. Not super deep, but very wide, and so there's a big trampoline, even though there's not an enormous box it's resonating in, and you really get that low C, you really get a lot out of it with this box. So it sort of is partial proof that you don't need a super deep box to get big, wonderful bass sounds. This neck block, as you can see, is a stacked laminate that I made. My cat. Tootie, cut it out. It's a stacked laminate of blue pine here, and I just love the way these look. Like, I've been doing this for a while now, and it's not uncommon for mandolin family instruments to have some sort of block up here that's contiguous, but it's always veneered over or made to match the sides, and I just love the way that the laminate looks, so I leave it sort of raw like that. I think it looks fantastic. That's a crazy cat. Why hide your work? You know, that's what I say. And I put blue pine. If you know me, I put some blue pine in every instrument I make. It's sort of a signature thing. Let's see, anything else interesting about this? The general theme of this is, look, we have this little area that was just begging for some kind of decoration. Often you'd have inlaid, you know, a little scroll in there. And so I made a little garlic scape there as my scroll. And up here I have a little green onion. And on the very back, I had this, on the volute, I had this little round flat area. So I was like, oh, what a perfect place to put another little detail. So there's a garlic flower there, or actually rather an onion flower. One of the little flowers that when an onion opens up, when it flowers, there's a whole bunch in sort of a, anyway, you can look at it. And so that's the decoration. Very beautiful walnut back and sides. I actually got this walnut. These were cut into guitar plates for some guitar manufacturer here in town, but they ended up in the bulk section of my local woodworking store, sold by the pound, because I think these were all just rejected because the book matches weren't perfect. But man, these are really beautiful. You can see the crotch on the back of this is particularly gorgeous pieces of walnut. And the top is also not book matched. These might not even be off the same plank, but I really love the way they look. And you don't have to book match something to make a really beautiful instrument. And this has this kind of rosette I've been doing that's made out of dyed resin that's inlaid in here. And what else? I mean, a hard maple neck, 3-piece hard maple, flame maple neck, bird's eye maple fretboard, pearl inlays. Not much else to say other than this is a killer. Oh yeah, one last little thing. I did this sort of pin attached tailpiece here. I really love the way this tailpiece came out. And for this one, I decided to use, because the tail block was not enormous for this, I didn't want to have a huge wooden dowel, so I used a little fine piece of brass bar stock that I cut and rounded and made a really gorgeous little piece of brass to mount the tailpiece on. And that's it. Just a really great instrument. I'm excited to show this off and hear some more musicians play this thing, because I don't really know what I'm doing on this thing. Anyway, great stuff. This is going to be up at La Conner, and then if it doesn't sell up there, I'm going to put it up on my Reverb. You can look at pictures of it and all that kind of stuff on my website, R.S.Randall.com. Thanks for watching. Tootie!